Perhaps the surprise package of 2023. Obviously, last year's second overall pick. Finished the season as the QB 11. Although I feel like general consensus is maybe that he's a little bit more valuable last year than that general QB 11 overall finish. Currently going as the QB 6, 71st on Underdog, and a shocking 44th overall on Sleeper. Heath, I know you're relatively low on CJ Stroud. What is it about the player that you're not a big fan of, and why are you trying to avoid him at the moment in drafts?
Yeah, I think, and this is a good point for an elephant that you may not even know is in the room, but CBS drafts are 6 points per pass touchdown league. And so our rankings are based on that. A lot of other sites are going to be 4 or 5. And so I think Stroud is actually better in the 6 point per pass touchdown leagues. And still, I just don't really see a very likely outcome where he finishes as a top 3 fantasy quarterback. And in a one quarterback league specifically, what I care about is upside. He's maybe a little bit better when it comes to the super flex format because his floor matters a little bit more, but he's not going to really run that much. And while I do think that he has one of the best receiving cores in the NFL, I don't think this is going to instantly turn into a super pass heavy offense. And so if he's not going to throw it 650 times and he's not really probably even going to run it 50 times, the math is you have to be one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the NFL to be a top 5 fantasy quarterback. We see it with last year. He was awesome. Led the NFL as a rookie in passing yards per game, and he was QB 11. How much better is he going to be?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Do you think that the potential additions of Stephon Diggs, hopefully Tank Dell healthy, do you think there could be a slight shift in that, I guess, pass to run ratio more towards the NFL norm as opposed to what we saw last year with quite a run heavy offense despite the inefficiencies?
Yes, in fact, I actually have them projected for more pass attempts than league median last year. It's just that I don't think slightly above average for a quarterback that's not going to do much as a rusher is good enough. Unless, and like, even so, like, how efficient was Brock Purdy last year? And it was lower
Incredible.
pass volume, right? Like, insanely efficient. And still, like, sure, he was a starting fantasy quarterback, but not a difference maker.
Yeah, and I
And
think, and the point you kind of mentioned about the fact that he doesn't rush that much, and you can see there the only 42 rush attempts on screen. It's like it's so difficult for these pocket passes to be able to compete with dual threats. Like we saw, we see Patrick Mahomes every year be able to compete and be able to be up there. But Patrick Mahomes averages 3.8 rush attempts per game over the course of his career, whereas Stroud, it was what, 2.5 per game last year. He did have 3.6 in college. So I think that's the point which, if he can add even just a little bit more of that, just a bit of scampering about, then he can really unlock himself. Because for me, drafting CJ Stroud where he opened best ball season as a top 45 pick on Underdog and now down around pick 70. Pick 70 is so much more palatable because it's not like we've even seen these massive ceiling outcomes from Stroud yet. And yes, we've added Stephon Diggs, but this is a quarterback who was responsible for 2 of the top 100 scoring performances from quarterbacks last year. So yeah, definitely more in on him now than when he was going 25 picks higher.
yeah, I think a big part of it is people. We seem to do this at quarterback more than any other position. Is chasing that shiny new thing, and obviously we saw Lamar Jackson go MVP in his second year. We saw Patrick Mahomes go MVP in his second year, and it's kind of people want to almost anoint that next superstar quarterback, and I think a lot of that is happening right now with CJ Stroud. And we said he had a fantastic year last year, but he did that with one of the highest ADOTs. So if that drops slightly, yes, okay, the passing volume may increase, but I think we're also going to see a lower volume of passing yards because I expect that ADOT to drop as teams start to potentially play more too high and it kind of daring them to run the ball on them a little bit more.
And I'm okay if you want to chase the shiny new thing, but there are shiny new things that are much cheaper that who run the ball that you can chase later in the draft.
Yeah, and it's we also need to see Bobby Slowick and the offense change enough to show that they're really willing to let CJ Stroud just unleashed a passing game. Like the Texans passed on first downs at the sixth lowest rate last year. You know, there was so many times where fantasy Twitter would explode with rage, where it'd be another first down run when everyone was begging for a pass. So I'm definitely, I don't know, I'm being very cautious with CJ Stroud. Perhaps I think the range of outcomes is massive, but the Texans maybe bringing in Stephon Diggs is part of showing that they're going to let CJ Stroud loose, but I'm not quite sure it's going to be top 5 quarterback fantasy material.
No, and if you're joining us for the first time tonight, welcome into the sanctuary. Hit that subscribe button. We are pumping out the redraft content, and of course, Tom is killing it with the best ball stuff. So stick around. We've got plenty more coming as we head towards the season.